Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show today. Danielle Blum is our guest, and she's an author, a retreat host, and unapologetic adventurer. Danielle Blum drives deep into the human psyche and creates experiences that spark connection, courage, and creativity. Welcome to the show. Yeah, thanks for coming. I love just keeping that bio so simple but powerful. So thank you for doing that. Some people give me this big long bio and I have to edit it. And I love talking about them, but I already have them on the show. So I want to just have them tell us how great they are too. So
Perfect.
Tell me, first of all, we had a little conversation, prior to recording this, and you're living in Portugal right now, right? Tell us a little bit about that, because I think retreat leaders are people mostly listening to this show. And I think it's exciting that digital nomad is so popular right now. And tell us a little bit about your journey with that.
All these events with digital nomads being huge all over Europe, there's these huge hubs, but people are still missing that connection because they're working for California time zone or this time zone. So they're working a lot of the days that people can be social. So what I found here is that there's a huge need and want for retreats, even if they're just local, but a place where people can get together, do some workshops for 3 or 4 days, have that networking, and then go on and be on their way. And a lot of them just have these great friendships that come out of it as well because of the jobs that they have. They just need that human connection and brainstorming. And so here with such a hub in Europe, it's really exploded. And I think we could take that to other places as well. Like maybe you have a retreat, like somewhere you want to go, but you haven't thought about marketing digital nomads. But that's a key place because they all just want to have community somewhere. So it's an untapped market. I think that there's a lot of potential there if you really dig into it and find a really cool place, a really cool little island or some little thing. And I'm sure there's digital nomads within a bus or a train or a plane that would be willing to come and do it.
I bet you're right.
So
Okay, so speaking to the retreat leaders listening to that, where would they find that niche and those people?
okay, so for me, I can only speak from my experience here, but there's definitely social media is a huge place to look for that. But if you just Google or Chat GPT digital nomad community or digital nomad hubs in this area, it'll give you a list of either websites or pages that you can follow and just kind of start stalking or doing some research on that and seeing what people are wanting. Like for here, there's a big surf community that wants to go surfing, but Madeira has some pretty big waves, so you have to be really good at surfing. So for here, I would go to the mainland Portugal where there is good surfing, but I'd market it to the people that were living here that crave that, but they don't have access to it. So it's kind of looking at what people want in one place and they can't get it and finding a place nearby that you can offer that.
Yeah, I
But
love
yeah,
that.
just going on, I think a Google research, digital nomad or digital nomad visas on Facebook. There's tons of communities. Like I'm in Americans and Friend in Portugal and just like searching that and you can just put in retreats and it's like what people are looking for
Yeah.
and just start taking notes and see what the biggest need is. And then there's also a company called Join My Trip where you basically just go on, make a profile, and you can advertise your trip through them for a percentage, but they send out reports every month about where the most people are inquiring to see where the next hotspot's going to be, like what their budget is. So it's a pretty good resource to even just kind of get into their WhatsApp group to see what's trending for what time of year and what budget's going for. Like Portugal's usually pretty popular, but then sometimes of the year, the budget people are spending can be up to thousand, like 2 or 3 thousands more than in this month. So kind of playing with that. So yeah, Join My Trip, sneaky little tools in there.
I
And they
know.
have budgeting tracker as well.
I like that. I didn't know about that. That's a great tip. I'm writing it down myself because I think that's
Yeah,
good.
and they advertise for you too on their website and stuff, and it's grown quite a bit. So yeah, like I said, I think they take a percentage, but if they're, it's a place for people to go and just kind of be like, oh, I want to start this retreat, or it could be any kind of trip, not necessarily a retreat, but it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I love that. When you were mentioning about doing research, that's something I want to, just point out to our listeners is that when you're doing something new or you want to do something outside the box, a little bit different, it's a great thing to do is research. And I'm not a big detailed person. I'm just the idea girl, but I do like doing research because it's that knowledge you gain from that. And when you dig into, if you have a niche that's just like that, if you're going to go after digital nomads, I mean, I've never heard anyone doing that before. I think that's such a great idea. Now everybody's going to want to do it. No, I'm kidding. But I
Do
think
it. There's plenty of space.
figuring it out, and ChatGPT does wonderful things. If you're not using it already, what's wrong with you? First of all, I'm just kidding. Um, yeah, it'll even give you ideas like how you can reach those kind of people. Ask that question as well. You gave great tips, but just
Oh yeah.
asking where you can find those people and more information is great. So you went above and beyond that. Thank you. What inspired
Well, and
you?
also I just want to point out, oh, sorry, I say point out with research too, is you have to know who your ideal client is. Like you have to know about how much money they're willing to spend, like what exactly are they looking for. The more research you do on just that general stuff, then you could really make the retreat better because now you're kind of getting into the niche and you're like, okay, these women will feel great if they wake up and look in the mirror and they have a little message with their name on it in the mirror and have the room smelling good when they come in. Like that's the kind of details that you can get from research without having to ask and be like, oh, this is what you need or this is what you want. You can kind of intuitively sense like, okay, this group of people will be want more beach time, so maybe I'll do a custom beach towel for this, and that will be like their little secret gift that they don't know about. So definitely
Yeah.
the more research you do on a broader spectrum, the more niche you can get and really tailor it to be something super unique and special that they won't forget.
I love that because
So
I'm
it's
all about
important.
the swag and creating swag that fits your niche and fits your people coming. Another tip I would add to that I was thinking of, have ChatGPT help you figure out a questionnaire. Don't make it hard, make it fun, and check out like put personality. You can, depending on the prompts, going to be what you get, but you could put the 4 basic personality styles. You could put what's the love languages in there, and that way it'll create questions around that, so then they don't flat out tell you a message on my mirror with an affirmation would be amazing. They're not going to tell you that. You're going to be able to figure that out by asking them. Maybe it's 10 or 15 questions, and after they sign up for the retreat, while you're waiting, and
Exactly.
go figure that
Sneak those
out.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's even a good lead magnet too, like on your website to be like say I'm having 4 retreats next year, and like you do the little quiz and be like, which one's going to be your match, and then it just is like that, and they're like, oh, okay, now let me look into it because your quiz said that this would be a great match for me, and now you have their email address and you're putting them on future newsletters. They're already interested because they put their email in for that quiz, so they're already interested in getting on a retreat and going somewhere. So then it's just kind of nurturing those little things too, but making it fun, like you said.
No, anyway, that's, see, me and you can power this up and we can figure out a great solution.
Exactly.
It's just a lot of people aren't idea people. Like that stuff comes easy for me, but that's just who I am. That's what I like. But people respond differently to different things. So I think figuring that out before you get to the retreat on your attendees is amazing. And I think they're gonna have such a better experience because you have spoke to their language. So
Exactly. And putting them into a group beforehand, if it's Facebook group or a group through your website or something, just to where you can kind of build community back before you get there. So then you can tell which personalities like that are showing through that'll be a good match to be rooming together. Because sometimes you're just like, oh,
yeah,
whatever, this is fine. Like stalk people's social media,
yeah,
see what they're about, see what their especially like political like stances are. Like you don't want to put 2 people in that you know are very active on Facebook about politics. You're not going to put them in the same room.
right,
So you just have to do that little bit of research and just see what they're putting out into the world and kind of,
yeah.
you're not always going to be right. Like the internet's a fake place, but it still gives you a heads up on like kind of how people behave and what they are, or if they're introverts or if they're only messaging you, like how to place them in the group and
Yeah.
communicate with them.
Yeah, those are just well, and just like sleeping arrangements. Do you snore? I mean, are you a light
Mm-hmm.
sleeper? Just asking questions like that, you're not going to want to put a light sleeper with a snore, right?
Exactly.
It's it's a little extra effort, but you are the retreat leader, so be the leader.
Mm-hmm.
All right, jumping into, I know you love storytelling and doing things by storytelling. So, what inspired you to combine that with retreats, and how do those two worlds interact for you?
So, yeah, I've always been a writer and I've always been a person that brings people together for different events, treats, concerts, my birthday party in Bali. We had a ton of people. I just love bringing people together and then seeing how they evolve in relationships and friendships and all of this beyond that. So I started doing this writing because I kind of had a moment in time and space that allowed me to take the time to fully dedicate myself to it. And I started going to different workshops and conferences and meeting people and networking. And there's such a need for retreats for people that want to just go and spend 5 days and finish their manuscript. Or maybe you have an agent that's a friend of yours that could come in and critique different things. So it's going in and listening to what everyone wants to come to Madeira. Like they love that for all different reasons. But as soon as I mention a writing retreat in Madeira, that's when people are going and signing up for my newsletter because they're like, okay, first, you know what you're doing because I'm active and I talk to people and I'm learning and I'm in there and that. And then I'm making the connections so I can bring in other people that will give you value and that's what you're looking for. And then a little bit of peace and quiet in a beautiful place where you can go take a walk or do this. So like structure without structure. So then I kind of put all the pieces together and I was like, there's definitely a need for this. I'm in a place that's highly desirable. Let's do it and see how far we can go, especially depending on the retreat and like what your goals are. Some might be finishing a manuscript, some might want critiquing from the agent, some might want to just kind of go and outline it and have this. So when you find your clients, you can cater that retreat to what all of their needs are that they're all going to benefit. And then you have that camaraderie. I don't know. I can't think of that word. Yeah, with others too that are going through what you're going through
Yeah.
because writing's lonely. Like you're sitting behind your computer, like you talk to your editor probably the most about your project. So having
And I think
someone
they know
else
it
just
better
sit
than us.
there. Exactly. So just having someone going through the trenches with you and
Yeah.
just doing that, and you're like, okay, I'm not alone. And now it's like, okay, now we're in this group together. Now I'm going to market when my books come out. I'm going to put them on my newsletter or your Kickstarter. And it just kind of is this going from this solo little job of you by yourself to now you have a bigger group and now you're getting introduced to these people because you met at this retreat but you know this person will get along or this is the best editor for your book and it's
Right.
just a little web of bringing so many more people into something like that.
Yeah. I love that. How do you feel like you create that container and that environment where people feel safe enough that they're willing to go deep and do that kind of work?
So that can be tricky because you want to facilitate something where people feel safe, but
Yeah.
safety for everyone is different.
Yes.
Like people are going to respond to the way you talk to them differently, or if they rather, like for me, I don't really love talking about my emotions, but I will write you a 6 page letter about it. You read it, and now you'll probably misunderstand it because you don't know what I'm trying to say, and it's just a whole chaos thing. But if you can go in and be yourself and be authentic to who you are as the leader and be really transparent about everything that's going on from the beginning, be like, oh, like this is really, I'm struggling with this to try and find that. And then just showing not necessarily your weakness, but that you are also human and you are vulnerable. And then when people talk to you or telling you their story or you're doing these intake forms, you're really listening to what they're saying. You're not just
Yeah.
waiting for them to be quiet so you could be like, oh, and this and this and this and this. Like it needs to be about them and you need to relate to them in a way that's authentic and and generally caring. You have to have a big heart to be leading events like this because there is a lot of pressure to make it right. Like there's a lot riding on it. People expect a result or a feeling or an emotion, mostly an emotion, right? So you need to make sure that from the very first moment, their emotion is happiness and excitement all the way until they leave. And then after they leave too. So they're still sharing and doing this. So how do you keep people excited
Hmm.
about maybe not doing the things that they don't want to do? You give them options on how to relate, how to speak, how to communicate. Because, like I said, it's different for everyone. So, just being, I think, transparent and honest from the beginning. If something's not going right, don't try and hide it. I mean, unless you can, but don't put people in danger. Like if something sketchy is going on, just be open about it. And I think people open up a little bit more and are willing to do the work as well when they feel relatable to you. And you create the vibe for everyone because you're the
Yeah.
leader.
Yeah. That container matters for sure. I love that. So, can you share maybe a moment or a little story in a moment from your retreats that reminded you like why the work matters that you do?
So yes, so many answers all just wish through my head at one time. So for me, it's important, and it's a reminder too, is to see people are coming to you with a problem. Like they trust you to be able to solve their problem in one way or another. Going in, they might think that this is their problem, but really their problem is over here and it's something different and they had no idea. But you're there leading them to be true to themselves, like guiding them on ways to discover different things about themselves that they might not have noticed before or understood. And then having open conversations with everyone where you can kind of bounce ideas and do stuff with each other that you might not have expected. Like one of my favorite things to do with people is finger paint. Just give them a canvas and you just finger paint. And so many people will just sit there and have no idea what to do, and then maybe they'll do a stick figure, or people will just be in conversation and just like doodling their fingers around and like not paying attention, but because their hands are busy, their thoughts are more clear, and now these breakthroughs are coming through over something so simple that you had no idea, but you're just casually painting in not a serious situation, and now you're just like, oh wow, like I just learned this about myself because I'm taking the time to literally do nothing except for
Yeah.
make something pretty. And we don't take the time to slow down and do that. And I feel like once we give ourselves permission to be sloppy, to not make the most perfect finger painting, to just really do what feels good, then you see that going forward. And then that's when you're breaking out of your own constraints and you're just like, oh, trusting yourself a little bit more because you're like, oh, yeah, this isn't perfect. This is just a finger paint. Like we're just having conversation and drinking tea. Like nothing serious about it at all. But that transfers over to the next thing and the next thing. And then now the boundaries are down and people are just kind of surprised at the freedom that they're giving themselves from just different constraints, whether it's work, family, this or that. And it's just a way to breathe. And that moves forward. And then that goes to into their bubble and web as well. It goes on, the ripple goes on to the people that they're surrounded with as well.
And speaking of finger painting, if you're watching this on video, you can see that Danielle behind her has a really cool finger paint, is what she told me, right? You say you finger paint?
Yeah, it's a finger painted wall. I like to finger paint. It's
Yeah.
fun. And I had a full wall to do it. So it's not
I wear
done. I'll add
nails.
some more. I'll change it.
I don't think I'd have to wear gloves to finger paint, which takes away a lot of the sensory, but yeah, I don't want it in my
Hmm.
fingernails. I'm aware.
Yeah, no, definitely. It doesn't come off. So
But
always
what
an
I hear you saying
experience.
is find a creative way, and I love that. The one of the most interesting things I ever did was years ago. One of my good friends did hypno art, and so we just been certified for hypnosis, and so we did a class where she hypnotized everyone while they had a canvas in front of them, and we painted like under
Oh
hypnosis.
my gosh.
It was so cool, and I
I
wish
want
she
to
would still
try.
do that because I wouldn't that be cool to attend that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds really fun. I would love to try that.
That'd be fun to do at a retreat. I just thought of that. Yeah. Anyway, it
Hmm.
was a cool experience. I don't remember where my picture is now at this point, but it was really fun. Well, okay. So because you and I both have books coming out, mine's in 2 weeks, and you said yours is in three. So mine's November 11th. Yours is the 18th.
The 18th, yeah.
So if you're listening to this of 2025, um, so yeah, let's. We've been through that process. We've been talking about the editor and stuff earlier on, and it's definitely a process, but I think a lot of people want to become so those writing retreats are really important. I think if you go to the right one, especially if you're thinking about writing a book, a lot of retreat leaders, you have expertise in a lot of things. Retreat leaders can be experts in anything and still be a retreat leader. So I think tell us a little bit about your book coming up. It's fiction, where mine's nonfiction, and but it sounds so interesting. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so my book is a psychological thriller. My main character has dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personalities, but they are the hero and not the bad guy. So, kind of changing the narrative of mental health in fiction. Definitely. I've interviewed over 100 people living with the diagnosis to try and really get a feel for this character. And in doing so, that actually also inspired the writing retreats, is because so many of these systems I worked with are submitting to me poems and writings and drawings and all this art and creative stuff that they never have felt comfortable showing anyone else. And it was they all said it was so healing for them to have this space to put their feelings or emotions on paper in a container where they felt comfortable doing that. So even just doing like an online retreat for something like that, where you don't have to share with anyone, that kind of got the wheel spinning because it is such a healing way to get over past traumas, which with DID, it is trauma, severe trauma at a very young age. So to see healing from something that really can affect you so much kind of led onto that. But anyways, yes, so my book, they are the hero. One of the alters is the only one that can solve the crime. So it's a twist on the traditional thriller, but it has a little bit of steam and romantic suspense in there. But it's coming out on November 18th and Amazon, and then through my website as well. So, and it's called Fragments of Affection.
Say it again.
Fragments of Affection.
Fragments of Affection. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Well, it sounds like a really good book. I shared with Danielle that I have a couple dear friends that I still call it multiple personality because I can't say whatever else you said. But it's the fact that I knew that was from doing their hair. I had a salon and spa for 20 years. And so I got close to them, and they don't know each other, and they don't know each other, have it. They do know I have another friend that has it, but of course I'd never disclose that. But it's been an interesting walk with them and knowing that. And yeah, I think it's great that it can make more awareness and make people feel more comfortable about coming out about something totally different than everything else that's coming out we hear about.
Maybe.
We need to be authentic, and it's okay. And I feel like it usually does stem from abuse that it comes from. So I think they do hide a lot. And so thank you for doing that. I think just making a story, doing the storytelling piece of it is going to help so many people. And I mean, that's with my books, that's really it. It's like, if it helps one person, if it changes, my message can change one person and their thinking or something that they do
Exactly.
or a relationship that they may culture now because of it, it's all worth it, right?
Just change the perspective a little bit in some way on something, and then it's worth it.
Totally. So, yeah. Well, if there was one message you could leave our listeners who are mostly retreat leaders, what would it be today?
Ooh, that's a tricky one, but I would say don't think, just feel. Because for me, the more I think about doing something, the more I talk myself out of it and give myself really reasons why I'm not the one that should be doing that. But if I go into something feeling like, ooh, I feel like this is a good idea, and then I just run with it without pausing and just getting it done, then I'm really going to my creative power as well and doing the things I'm afraid of, but not giving myself over to the fear. So don't think, just feel.
Think, just feel. I love that. I love that. Yeah. Mine's been get out of the being or get out of the doing and get into the being. That reminds me of that. Yeah.
Ooh, I like that one too. I might have to put that on my office wall.
Okay. My permission. I didn't probably make it up. I'm sure I heard it somewhere.
Still good. It's a good reminder.
Well, everyone, I'm sure you've learned a lot today and got some tips. At least I hope you did. Got some ideas to move your retreats forward. Keep on trucking and making it happen. And let's bring this retreat world more authentic and more help to so many people that can come to us. And Danielle, thanks for coming and sharing your heart with us today. And we will see everyone next week. Bye for now.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for having me. It was lovely. Have a good day.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time. Thinking about hosting a retreat? Before you dive in, let's make sure you're really ready. Grab your free Are You Retreat Ready checklist and find out if you've got everything in place from your purpose and pricing to your audience and agenda. Don't guess, get clear. This quick checklist will show you exactly where you stand and what you need to make your retreat a success. Click the link below in the show notes to grab your gift and take the first step toward hosting with confidence.